Hi everyone, welcome to our channel. We are the three Hokagis and this is the Tatakatalk Podcast. I'm Miguel, your pseudo host for today.
I'm Anna.
And I'm Marvin.
And today we chose an anime movie called SUZUME. We will be discussing that. Marvin was kind enough to propose that as a topic for this episode, and we'll get into that. I did like the ending mostly, but we'll have a discussion more in depth in this podcast. Before we do though, please make sure to subscribe if you want to support us. Hit the like button and make sure to share this video if you like it. So I was going to ask you who wants to start with their general reaction of the movie, but I don't really care who wants to start. I'll just pick one and you have to answer, okay? Or you can head out. You can just walk out right now. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, Anna, do you want to start?
He was not going to ask, but he just asked.
My real nature came out. I'm sorry. Start now. Go
no,
ahead.
but I can start. So basically we decided to watch Suzume because we watched the trailer one day randomly at the movies. It just popped up and we were going to see the Meg 2, by the way, and suddenly this trailer appeared. So
Which was a way better movie.
Stop it. It is, well, anyway. We love the Meg in this house, but we saw a trailer and I realized, and I was like, this has to be the same people who did Your Name. And it is. I checked, it's the same director and everything. And what I love, obviously, because these movies stand out from this, it's the looks. It just looks beautiful. The freaking backgrounds, the characters, but specifically the backgrounds, the lighting stands out so much. And they did not disappoint when it comes to Suzume. I think that the whole aesthetic of the movie was really beautiful. The shots, the framing. So that was the first impactful thing that I had aside from the story. It was the looks coming from this studio, this director. So that was my first opening thoughts of the movie. What did you think?
Well, I'm gonna join you on this first point. Mostly the visuals of this movie are absolutely out of this world. The backgrounds, I realized, I talked about this before, but there was an inclusion of 3D in this movie as well. A bunch of cars, little objects in the forefront, but it was super smooth. You can tell that this is not something that was rushed. You can tell that this had been worked on for months and months and months. And every single background looked like an oil painting. And I kept referencing this during the movie. I was like, wow, this movie is so beautiful.
Wow.
And this movie is so beautiful. For everything, theme-wise, the characters are really well written. Sometimes it's a little questionable because this movie is also very strange and very odd in a bunch of ways. Very mysterious, very enigmatic. That would be the word. But genuinely, the movie I was blown away by the way this movie looked, and probably one of the best animated movies in terms of looks that I've seen in my entire life. And it very much reminded me of something that Your Name, obviously same studio, didn't know, but it makes sense. A Silent Voice, I keep mentioning this movie in private because I really like it. It holds a special place in my heart, but it's also extremely beautiful. And I had a genuine good time. We were, in fact, watching the Meg 2. Which I will like to point out that it is a masterpiece. I'll put it out there. For every Bald Man fan or every shark fan in the world, go see the Meg. But we watched the trailer before the Meg and we were immediately intrigued. Anna also has an unhealthy obsession with cats. So she saw a cat and she was like, I want to see this movie. So she could have picked an obsession with doors or an obsession with cats. She picked cats, two themes, both in the movie. So we watched it.
Unhealthy is the important word in that sentence.
Exactly. Borderline toxic.
Correct.
but I really enjoyed this movie, and I would 100% recommend it. I have some gripes, which we'll get to, and I think that Miguel and I are going to disagree once again. But what did you think, Miguel?
Yeah.
First, thank you for recommending the movie, and I actually didn't know that it was from the same creators as Your Name, and I do have to watch Silent Voice.
A
Is that
Silent
the name?
Voice, yeah.
A Silent Voice. Yeah, it was recommended to me, but I haven't watched it. Maybe we can discuss it later.
Prepare to cry.
Prepare the
to cry.
tissues.
They told me that, and they also told me
Yeah.
I wanna eat your pancreas. That it's
I've heard
very
about
good.
it. I've heard about it. Yeah.
Yeah, they told me they are like on the same like category of you'll cry definitely, but we can definitely see if we discuss them. Let us know in the comments if you would want us to
Exactly.
discuss
Maybe a
those.
tease to a next episode.
It's free real estate.
Yeah, exactly. And regarding Suzume, I definitely liked it. I will say that the biggest highlight for me was watching how beautiful it is. I agree with you on that. In that sense, like the second part of the movie, I thought, like the second hour, because it's 2 hours long, I thought was a bit slow, and it was a bit hard for me to like stay engaged, especially when I already forgot the name, and that's classic me. What's the name of the guy?
Sota.
Soda.
What's that?
Sota.
Sota. Okay, yeah. Once he becomes the rock thing, what's the name of the rock thing?
The
The
keystone.
keystone.
The keystone. Yeah. Once he becomes the keystone, and I already forgot the name of the protagonist.
Suzume.
Suzume.
You can roast me. Feel free to roast me. I have like some short-term issues.
What's
in my
what's the
brain.
name of the main character of Naruto? What's his name?
Goku. One day you're gonna watch Dragon Ball Z and you're gonna be like, I really like when Dragon Ball Z did this thing.
I really should be roasted eternally, but I do have a short-term memory problem. I'm almost convinced of that. But anyways, when Suzume was like chasing him and trying to resurrect him, I found some that at moments it was a bit slow, but you know, throughout the whole movie, I was like blown away by the animation, how beautiful it is, and you know, I think that's a big contrast that I appreciate when I watch an anime movie rather than, you know, just an anime that has episodes. One of the things is how, you know, how much time animators put into allowing the viewer to kind of sit back, relax, and appreciate every small detail. And I definitely did that. I thought that, you know, the animation was great. I don't know as much in regards to animation as both of you guys do, but for me it looked amazing. And the plot, I was at times a bit confused. As you were saying, Marvin, it was a bit enigmatic, and I didn't know, you know, what's up with these cats. They're supposed to be dogs, and then they are
Same.
these.
We asked the same questions, do
stones.
not worry.
Yeah. So, yeah, I was a bit confused, but honestly, the ending made everything for me worth it. Like, it was like the ending for me matched the graphics, if that makes sense, like in how great and impactful it was for me, and I will remember it going forward, especially because of the ending. So what did you guys think of that, of the ending, or
Well,
anything else that you want to address?
Just like, because like you mentioned the parts that after in the second half of the movie it got a little lost. I do agree. I kept telling Marvin I am missing lore here. I was like, I'm either missing Japan lore,
Japanese lore.
like I'm missing extra lore here, because there were things that I could not understand. The cats, at some point she says that they're gods, but I'm like, when? And eventually it made sense. They were the two keystones, right? But for example, the moment when the black cat takes control of the aunt, I don't know, that part for me was a little confusing, because apparently the aunt did say the things that she said, but I don't know if the cat was like bringing the bad in her. I'm a little bit confused about that.
I think you might be right onto the Japanese lore thing, because I really, even visually, I could see it as like a yin and yang kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
the black and white, the balance and everything. But who were they? Why? Where? How? I have more questions than I have answers.
Yeah, and also the little cat, I thought that at some point he was going to be revealed as the mom, or like something related to the mom or something. But the cat, he just wanted to be her cat, like he just wanted her love. And I'm like, I kind of get it, but I don't, you know? So it's like, I don't know if someone in the comments can clarify me here, but I'm missing Japan lore here, because I was not 100% sure what was happening. But regarding the ending, this is the part that I talked to Marvin, that I was like, this is the part that touched me the most and like could possibly make me cry, even though this movie was like not really pulling at my heartstrings. I don't think it was like exactly the purpose. But it was the moment when she talked to her little self, and it was difficult, because her little self, her child self was struggling. And she was crying, and she didn't understand, and she was like, my mom this, my mom that, and her like older self was trying to calm her down, but it's kind of like metaphorical, right? It's like, what would you do if you met your little self at the moment when you were struggling? And I told Marvin that I would probably act similar to her, in the sense of like, I would try to calm myself down, but I would probably fall into despair as well, because you know what you're going through at that moment in time, so it's kind of difficult to like help yourself in that moment. But the fact that she actually managed, by giving her the chair and making it like a full circle moment, and she understood that basically she had all she needed since always, because that was the whole point. It's like she always had everything that she needed. It honestly, that part, it touched me. I'm like, okay, so even though in the beginning there was never something that I would be like, oh, this girl is lacking something in her life, the fact that she kept having dreams and remembrance of her mom, obviously she was longing for something that she didn't have anymore. And the fact that at the end she understood that she has people who loves her, she has people that she loves, there's people who care about her, like throughout the movie people were caring about her, and that she doesn't really need to be seeking for that thing that she doesn't have anymore, because what she needs is right here, right there. And I feel like this was like a beautiful message, a little convoluted at times, but ultimately at the end it's like you understand what they're trying to tell you. And I think that was like a really beautiful thing to end the movie on.
Yeah, I feel like the ending was very meaningful when it came to the entire movie. The reason why I personally wasn't very touched in terms of emotions by the end of the movie, I felt like it should have touched me more than it should, but because I had so many questions and my mind was racing like a million miles a minute, I was like, okay, but why did the cat do that? Then what was the connection to this character with this character? I don't have any answers, and I was expecting the answers to come to me, and they never did. So I wasn't fully in the moment. That's a me problem. I'm very aware of that. But because I was so caught up in my own mind, I could not really get fully into the end of the movie. I felt it was a really well written scene. It was really touching. The links between the characters and the relationships dynamics, they were really good. Like, I have no issue with them. My main issue comes the fact that lots of things remain unknown to me, and I'm kind of frustrated with the movie for that, because I wish I would have more backstory on the cats, like mostly the cats, to be honest, because when you piece it back together, why did the cat say to Sota, you're in the way, and then turn him into a chair, but then he guided everyone to the doors? So it's like, Did he just wanted Suzume to close the doors, but she's in danger, she doesn't know anything? There's a whole lot of plot holes that might not be plot holes. I might have just missed something. But to me, the movie by itself as a product lacked a little bit of a thread throughout, and I wish it would have had a little bit more of that. For example, the Sota's best friend, I don't need much more backstory on him. I understood everything. The aunt understood everything. Suzume understood everything. But some characters who are gods, like you were saying, or jinns or spirits or something, I need to know more. I cannot just stay here and pretend that everything makes sense, because it really doesn't. But it was a really good movie. That's my take on it.
And also one point that I can bring up related to what you just said, Marvin, some like plot holes that I also noticed was, for instance, the cat's relationship with Sota's grandfather.
Yes,
Like they seem to
100%.
Anna
have,
mentioned this.
yeah, they seem to have known each other like, way back in the day, and the grandfather was like, oh, I haven't seen you in years, and then you see the cat have like a change of heart or something, because he returned to Suzume and kept guiding her, although he was like sad, I guess, because he realized she didn't love him or like him. I don't know what was going on there, but the grandfather said something to I think it was to the cat. He said, I entrust everything to you. Do you recall that part? Just
I do.
before he left.
あの子について行かれますか。よろしくお頼み申す。
I do remember this, and we talked about it, and my theory coming out of this scene was that the grandfather made the cat the stone in the first place. That's what I think happened. It's not clear, but I think that they might have a shared history together,
Yeah.
because he told the cat, I entrusted everything to you, but then I think the cat told the same thing to, I forgot, who did he say to? Suzume.
Sota.
To Sota. Everything was entrusted to you. This line comes back multiple times, and it kind of dinged in my head, and I was like, yeah, okay. So because the grandpa is a closer, just like Sota, so I assume that he was the one who picked the cat to be the first keystone. That's what I understood, but nothing is clear. I don't know. I will have to do hella research on the internet, but because we just watched the movie, I'm giving my opinion like this. I might look like Boo Boo the Fool on the internet, but it is what it is.
You know what crazy
Welcome to
hella
the team.
theory? Like, you know what crazy hella theory just came up in my mind right
No.
now? I could be wrong. You know how the whole movie is cyclical?
Mhm.
What if the cat is Sota? Like, let's say that in the future he becomes the cat. Like, he has to become a keystone, because at some point I remember that she tells the grandpa, or the grandpa mentions that only closers become keystones or something like that.
True.
And then the cat kept mentioning the thing about how he only wants her to love him. He's always like, do you love me? But you love me. And then she's like, no, I hate you. And then he loses his power. And then at the end, the cat basically sacrifices himself again, because kind of like, I guess that he understood that this is what he has to do. And I'm like, maybe it's insane, maybe it's not Sota, but I'm like, it feels like this cat is connected to Suzume in a way. So I'm like, what if it's something like this, right? I could be saying crap. Again, I'm lacking Japanese lore here.
I
but-
think the reason why the cat was so connected to Suzume is because she was the one who freed him.
Yeah.
And because when she grabbed the stone, he turned into this little ball of fur. My question is, when it comes to coherence in the movie, is the fact that when you look at the movie, you see and I know it's a red herring, but they showed the cat on the internet doing whatever at a bar, drinking, then on top of the bridge, he seems very malicious. He doesn't seem to be like, to have good intents, and I know that you're supposed to think this way, and then turns out that no. But it makes the movie more confusing than it should be, because when you push into a direction too much to confuse the audience, then going back on it, when you as a watcher, you go back and you're like, but why did he do all of that? none of it makes sense, because if he wanted to lead Suzume towards the doors, he could have done it way more straightforward. It could have even been a little ominous, because why would the cat do that, and why would he lead them, and why would he turn Sota into a chair? And everything to me is very much the line of you're in the way. The first line that he told Sota in the entire movie.
Yes.
Why did he say that? Why is he in the way? Is he in the way of his relationship with Suzume because he wants to be her cat? Probably. But it's very strange that he would do that to him. And also, their sets of powers are really confusing. What can they do and what can't they do? I'm still confused about that, because the cat seems to be not omnipotent, but seems to have a lot of powers, and then turns out he doesn't. And I know that it's depending on love that he receives, but why? And why are the pillars connected to the keystones, and why are they the guardians, and why is one a black cat and the other one a white cat? Why can one grow big and white and then the other one can grow big and black? It's really strange, and I feel like maybe a little bit of a Google search might help with that.
Yeah, fair enough.
And I think I'm gonna go straight to it afterwards and maybe post an apology in the comment if I'm completely wrong about everything.
Same.
You know, I feel the same way almost every time I watch an anime movie, that it's just a movie on its own. That it's not like, you know, Naruto and then you have Naruto the movie, you know, or Demon Slayer or something like that. And one movie that comes to mind is Princess Mononoke. I don't know if you guys have watched it, but it's also very enigmatic, and it does play with your perception, and you are left with many questions. At least that was the case for me. I feel once again, although it's been a while since I've watched an anime movie, the same thing happened. And another question that I had at the end of the movie was, why was the mom, like Suzume's mom, and her relationship with Suzume never like discussed or explored? Because definitely you are tempted to think that at the end it would be something that comes up and it's explored, but what ends up happening is that Suzume speaks to herself when she was a kid. So I was left with the question, was what was she needed only to accept, you know, that pain, that grief, and let go and move on and see that, you know, I can continue with my life and I'll meet new people, I'll create great memories? Or was there something substantial, specific to the mom, that made it so difficult for her to let go? Because when she speaks to the aunt, which I don't remember the name, sorry everyone, she is saying, when the black cat like kind of takes over her, she says, you know, I want my life back. And Suzume starts crying, and she says, wait, but it wasn't my choice either. So it seems that she was struggling with something, although she was extremely avoidant. And that really left me wondering, you know, what's up? But I guess we'll never know. Or maybe Google will also answer my question. So go ahead. Yeah.
No, I just felt like I have my own little theory about the mom, and to me it all stems from the fact that because of the way the story is structured, we were all expecting to see the mom at the end. I was expecting it. I think we were all expecting it. But I feel like the true twist of this movie is the fact that the mom is not that important. She is to Suzume, but we also have to remember that the mom disappeared when Suzume was 4. So she doesn't have that many memories of her, aside from the chair, which is like the one big object that centers around the movie. But to me, it's so much more impactful that she talked to herself, and she has this line at the end that says, I think it says something like, I was for her what I needed back then. Like, I was enough for myself the whole time. Basically, I was able to be there for myself. And this is the moment that really touched me. because as much as I didn't cry, and I do cry in front of movies quite an awful lot, like more than I should, but this one, it just rang true. I listened to it and I was like, yeah, damn, like that's real, that's deep. But I'm almost happier than the mom didn't show up, because it would have almost invalidated the message. Because if the mom had shown up, it would have been a sweet moment, them finally reuniting, because I thought that the mom was in the ever after, the other world. Turns out she wasn't, and I think it's fine. I think it's okay. We saw the mom enough, but because we don't know anything about her and anything about who she was, aside from just the mom, because I always say that all the time about everything. Us as kids, we always have this vision of our parents that is like the perfect people. They cannot be wrong. They're like, that's my mom, that's my dad, that's my parents. And we see them as parents, and then the more you grow up, the more this image starts crumbling down and you start seeing the person. And I think that's what happened with the aunt, because Suzume saw her aunt as a person, as the woman, not as the aunt. And when that image starts crumbling, it's hard for an adult to reconciliate what you thought of your parents and who they really are. And sometimes you catch yourself thinking, damn, if my dad or my mom wasn't my parent, would I like them? And oftentimes the answer is kind of no. I don't know what you think.
That's fair, very fair enough.
There's
Like,
one
do you have a
point.
take on that?
Yeah, do you have
go
a
ahead,
take,
go ahead.
Anna? I just had
No.
one comment that I wanted to say, but
Yeah.
I can wait. No worries.
No,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead. I was just saying that I agree with the thing. It's like, if you think about your parents as people, it's like, would you actually like them as people? Like, it's yeah.
It's a hard question.
Yeah.
Anna laughs because she is keeping in most of what she's thinking for for
Obviously.
the viewers, so that you keep watching and don't get scared.
Exactly.
So, sorry, Anna, I always pick on you. Okay, this is my other idea that I just thought about while you were speaking, Marvin, in regards to the mom not showing up at the end of the movie. I thought during the movie, and again I'm thinking now, the little kid, little Suzume, was able to live the ever after. That's what it's called, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The ever after. Once, older Suzume gives her the chair, right? The chair with the missing
The missing leg.
the missing leg, exactly. And I don't actually know what happened to that missing leg, but I think it's symbolic. And what my takeaway from that is that, you don't have your mom, of course. You lost your mom, she passed away. But what she did have was the acceptance of what her mom gave her, All the love that her mom gave her was symbolized in that chair, I feel. And although the chair is not the same, the chair is missing a leg, your mom is not there with you to build you more stuff and give it to you in person. You still have that memory, you still have that, that symbol. And although it can be painful, you can hold on to that and remember that, and keep moving forward, as Aaron would say. Sorry, I don't know why I said that. So yeah, I think you can, right now thinking about the chair, I think that's a great symbol, and it would make sense that for the mom not to be shown and speak with Suzume, because it was more about her, accepting that on her own. Because I think she actually even said, I even knew all along. Like, she's talking to her little self and she is remembering, I knew all along. Like, I knew that my mom wasn't coming back. And then little Suzume, and I honestly got extremely emotional in this scene. She was like, no, but wait, my mom should be looking for me. She should still be out there. She doesn't know where to look. She doesn't know where I am. And, older Suzume giving her the chair and, calming her down, I think was great. And I think it is just like a moral for everyone that watches the movie, just, to treasure those memories and keep moving forward, like with that, while you honor what someone you loved, especially a parent, family, friends, whoever it is, what they did for you, you can still honor that even though they might not be in your life anymore. I think that's a great message. And one more thing that I thought was in regards to the cat, I was thinking maybe, and this is just a theory also, the same way that Sota became the chair, is there something to be explored about a keystone becoming like a core memory, because maybe the cat, in that search for Suzume's love, there was something there. Maybe he became a cat because the cat was a core memory for someone else, maybe related to their grandfather, right? Maybe, I don't know what the story could have been, but if you think about it, why the chair? And it is actually touched on because Suzume tells one of the people she meets during the multiple trips, she tells them that chair was a memento from my mother. And I just think it's not a coincidence, but I might be wrong. It could be related to the cat, it might not be, but it seems to be some sort of passing, like trusting and passing on, like a will to the next generations, as the grandfather did with the cat, as Suzume in a way indirectly did with Sota. So that's something that I came up with. What do you guys think?
I never thought of it this way. It didn't come to my mind because, again, I was more focused on other things. Like, way too many things didn't make sense to me. But this is an interesting theory, like the connection between emotional attachment and the objects that they represent. And maybe the cat is a symbol. I would be more tempted to say that it has to do with Japanese lore in one way or another, because I feel like the cat represents something. Maybe I'm completely off base, but to me, I still feel like the cats were the yin and the yang, specifically because the black cat did this thing to the aunt that felt like almost evil, or at least brought out the bad emotions from the aunt, right? But the thing with the chair is that at first I didn't realize, but the cat attached Sota to the chair, and this is something that never happens again. And it seems like he passed on the role of keystone to Sota, and I don't know how he did that and how that's possible, and how can the cat do it but Sota cannot do it. It's very, very enigmatic. I was more confused than anything, but there is definitely a link between emotional attachment and an object and the memory that they represent. 100%.
Yeah, I think that this is an interesting theory. I actually didn't think about it, but now that you mention, it's true that, well, I do believe that the cats are deities, like you said. They're more representations of gods or so, like she actually said. It's actually an interesting thing because the fact that the grandfather obviously knew the cat and there was like a connection, it can only mean something, right? Just like Suzume has a connection to the chair. And I do think that the point of the cat attaching him to the chair, it was like a way to make Suzume do all this travel to finally go back to the place where she had to be, which was with her little self, to give her the chair. So I think that the cat knew what he had to do the whole time, which was to guide Suzume to this specific door, and the only way to get her to do that would be with love, because of her love for Sota, because she was so determined to get him back that she was gonna do this, and 100% she was gonna get that chair back. I don't think the cat thought that he was gonna lose her love. I think that it was like things that had to happen, right? I think the cat knew that he had to take her there. I don't think the cat knew that it was gonna turn itself back into the keystone. But yeah, I do think that their memories are very much a core thing of the movie. It has very much, because even Suzume, she at the very beginning when she sees Sota for the first time, she's like, I've seen you before. And this is the thing that makes her like stop, and then he talks to her. So it is something very significant. So I do think that there might be something related to memories when it comes to the keystones. But yeah, I mean, it might be. It's an interesting theory.
You're making a really good point. I just realized something that now that you mention it. You guys remember that they mentioned that the ever after is simultaneous. It's not like linked to any temporality. And the fact that Suzume got lost in it, even though a human is not supposed to go in it, I feel like that affected something, and that also affected the worm that was living in there. I think maybe in some sort of convoluted way, Suzume was like an anomaly that needed to be fixed, and she needed her own self in the future to go back and help her find the exit, pretty much.
And close
Because
the
she
door.
cannot stay and close the door, exactly. Because I think the closing the door was a set point in time. It had to happen. It just needed the old Suzume to go back to the child Suzume and kind of close the circle. Like she closed the door. I really, like, you just illuminated my mind with this thing. I feel like there is a destiny thing definitely in this movie.
Yeah.
That something is traced and has to happen. And the cat was probably there to ensure that it happened.
Yeah.
It's just that a lot of convoluted things happen in the middle, but the beginning and the end very clear. What's going on in the middle, who's to know?
Yeah, exactly. There's a black hole in the middle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a worm, a big worm.
Yeah, exactly. It will take a while to figure out the middle, but at least we can hold on to the beginning and the end. And one point that you bring up, Marvin, makes me think right now of the fact that Suzume is actually kind of an anomaly, because the grandfather tells her no living person can go to the ever after, and actually Sota tells her the same thing, and she brings up this conviction in wanting to bring Sota back, and she tells his grandfather, I don't actually care if I live or die. And she has this quote like whether you live or die is a matter of luck. However, what I am afraid of is a world without Sota. And I thought that, supported the idea that she might be an anomaly, because the grandfather goes on to say, I think you might have been in the ever after before. You might have gotten lost there when you were a kid. And she now, because of that, can go back and find this door.
心に常世に迷い込みでもしたのだろう。後ろ戸を探すことだ。
Which it's kind of like an exception. She's like breaking a rule. We don't know why. That's another enigma that is presented in the movie. But definitely it's very interesting. One other thing that I was thinking about is the cat's role. Definitely, I believe they are some sort of deities, both of them as well. However, I'm interested now in the dynamic that they create between Sota and Suzume because of Suzume's feelings for Sota. As you were saying, Anna, he, turned him into the chair because that would, in a way, attach Suzume to the chair and to Sota. So what I was thinking is, do you guys think, maybe this is a little bit off topic, that, I don't know if I would actually call love, what they had, because at first glance, it seemed like very, like, cliche in a way, like, I feel like I have known you from before, which it's always said in one way or another in multiple anime movies. But what I do think it's more complex would be, someone you have very positive, deep feelings for, leading you towards some sort of more meaningful and deep healing, kind of. Because if you think about it, the cat turns Sota into the chair. The chair has this symbolic meaning for Suzume because of her mom. Then Sota becomes the stone, what is it?
The keystone.
The keystone. He becomes the keystone, and then Suzume wants to, turn him back into, a human. But in her pursuit and her conviction of wanting to turn him back into a human, she ends up going back to the ever after, where she wanted to, where she had to be in a way to heal some and let go of some sort of emotional baggage and be at peace. Because I do feel that she was extremely avoidant with the aunt, and I think there might be something emotional behind that. But that's something that I was thinking. What do you guys think of, your feelings for someone as a means to reach some sort of deeper healing? Because I think that would be more meaningful than just a cliche anime movie where love is taken for granted. Many times I feel many movies just speak about love in ways that they don't even explain what it is. But if this is actually a way of explaining love symbolically, then I would be very, touched by that. And it didn't seem like very possessive, which I think was also a great point. It was more about, witnessing someone's healing and redemption in a way. Maybe I'm taking it too far with that word, but what do you guys think about, love in the movie and healing and all that stuff?
Well, the thing is that, not to get too personal, but when it comes to my life story, that is a whole story on its own. I did require love in order to be where I am right now. Literally.
Aww.
In no, they say
Not in an awe way.
no, not in an all way actually, but the thing is that sometimes I don't know what it is. Call it destiny, call it the cat, call it fate, call it God, something.
Call it the cat.
Yeah,
Something tells me that you're gonna call it the cat.
No, but like, for example, in my case, it was love that made me make decisions that in my right mind I wouldn't have made them. And because of those crazy decisions, I ended up being like, just like Suzume, I moved far away from where I was, and I ended up being somewhere else. And in the end, actually, my life ended up being completely different than it used to be. And honestly, I did do a lot of healing, but it required someone that I love so much for me to be able to do this leap of faith. And I relate a lot of that in the movie. I think that Suzume, she loves she's very attached to the chair to begin with. She became attached to Sota. And the only way to make her do the decisions that she did, it was going to be through love. I think that love is such a powerful thing for the human being that sometimes the only way that your life is going to advance, like, let's call it God's plan. The only way that God's plan is going to advance for you is going to be because you do something for love. Like in my case, literally, like I relate so much to this. Like literally, there's no way that I could have made the decision that I made if it had it not been because I was in love with someone. No one could have forced me. Nobody could have told me, "Oh, you need to leave," or I would have never done it. It had to be a way stronger force for me to make to do the things that I did. And I think that was the same case for Suzume. It was such a strong thing that was pulling her into doing these things that she ended up doing them. So I do think that love is a very valid way to explain why someone would go to such extremes to achieve something, and that something ending up being like a healing or something better for them. And like in my case, it literally led me to something so much better, that even though that person is not in my life anymore, I can only like be thankful for what happened. And in the case of Suzume, it's like so many things happened. Granted, in the end, she did get Sota back, but so many things had to happen to lead her to understanding like the whole thing about her child self, the chair, and all this stuff. And I do think that the plan, Destiny's plan, or whatever it was that drove her there, the only way was gonna be through love. And to me, that makes perfect sense as someone who has lived that for real. To me, like, because I do think that she fell in love with Sota because, like, let's like, just like me, it was young love. It was, she keeps saying that she had never had a boyfriend and whatnot, and she had very close connections to him. I do think that she completely fell in love. He not necessarily, but it doesn't matter, because
eventually I feel like he did.
Maybe he did. The thing is that it's not really relevant to the story, because it's like,
No.
we just need her love.
Exactly.
Because
At the end,
her
it doesn't
love
matter.
is what's pushing her through to do what she has to do.
Which proves your point, because at the end of the movie, we don't even know if Sota and Susume ended up together.
Yeah, we have no
Like,
idea.
it's left ambiguous on purpose, and I think that's what Anna is saying, that at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter whether or not they ended up together, because her love, which love is always called the ultimate feeling by everything, is love is the most powerful of all, love conquers all, love, 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 it's always the same.
Is this love that I'm feeling? Is this the love?
But like you were saying, Miguel, usually movies portray love in such a way that is, to me, I would call it superficial.
Yeah.
A lot of the times it's like, oh, guy falls in love with girl, girl falls in love with girl, guy with guy, whatever configuration, it's always the same. It's like love conquers all. But the truth is, in this specific movie, her love was her driving force, but not just her love for Sota, because truthfully, she just met Sota. She doesn't really love him, she's just enamored. She saw this beautiful man and she was like, he's beautiful, I want him.
Has anyone ever told you you look just like Denzel Washington?
Yeah, actually, I have heard it once or twice.
She doesn't really understand what's going on, but it's her love for him, it's her love for her mom, it's her love for that chair, her love for her memories, her love for herself. All those loves mixed together, combined into bringing her where she had to be, because she was always driven by love. And you can tell that, because Miguel, you were talking about healing, and healing is such an important concept in this movie, because the only moment where you see Susume connecting with her aunt is at the end of the movie, after she really healed. In the credits, you see them connecting a little bit, and you see that they're sharing moments. And at the beginning of the movie, it's very cold, like the aunt is saying, oh, I'm doing extra time at work, figure out your own dinner. I was taken aback by that line, because I saw it and I was like, that's not a very parenty thing to say, figure out your own dinner. It was the way it was phrased. Maybe it was a translation, maybe, but I felt like it was very cold and very non-personal, that it was like a roommate kind of thing. You would talk like that with your roommate, you would not talk like that with someone that you're caring for and that you love. And she was like, I'm going out, doing some overtime. And then Susume was like, oh, you're having a day? And she's like, no, just overtime, figure it out. She didn't really say it like that, but she kind of did. And throughout the movie, the aunt also had to figure out her own self, because she held herself back for so many years. And at that moment where everything blew up because she was possessed by the cat, which at first I thought it was evil and like malicious, but then now I'm figuring out that maybe the cat pushed her to say what she really had on her mind, to free her from those like negative emotions. And it was only after that she apologized, and she heard Susume said, I didn't have a choice either. If I could have chosen, my mom would not be dead. And that's very important to remember because sure, the aunt lost a sister, but Susume lost a mother. And if not equally as important, that's like a major trauma for the both of them. The aunt ended up having to care of her child, even though she never wanted to, or she never could, and it's never explained. But she didn't have a child. Probably didn't plan on having one. And at the end of the movie, when everyone is healed by love, they can express love again, which shows in the moment where Sota comes back and then they meet again, and it's like again full circle because they meet in the same way that they met at the beginning of the movie. They meet on that little hill, and she's on her bike and everything. So I think it was a restart. We talked about Erased recently, Erased the anime, and it was the same kind of schematics. Maybe this is something in Japanese culture where you have to do the full circle, but just like what was it called, Satoru in Erased, where he had to come back to his present life with everything fixed. Without traveling in time, Susume managed to go back to a point in her life in the present where things were okay. And I feel like that's very much the message of the movie.
I was actually gonna mention Erased because it reminded me of the relationship between Satoru and his mom,
Yeah.
and how cold it was in the beginning, and then by the end it was the most loving relationship ever. And it was just because they both had to heal over the years, over everything that was like around their lives. And like you were saying, it's like healing is a very important thing in this movie, because not just Susume has to heal, everyone has to heal.
Yeah.
And like you said, the cat was not an evil thing. It was just like a force that pushed the aunt to finally speak her truth. And Susume also, like when she said I didn't choose, it's like I think that she also wanted to say this, like, more that I didn't choose my mom to die, is more like I didn't choose you to take care of me. Like it's like both of them are a little resentful about the how you call it, how life turned out, like, but they both had to air it out in order to be able to patch things up.
Susume even mentions the suffocating thing.
Right, and it's true that, and the aunt was in fact suffocating her, and that's why there was also the strain in the relationship, because the aunt wanted so bad to be a good mom that she didn't know what to do, because she had never planned to raise a child.
So she overdid it.
She overdid it, and then the child became suffocated because, first of all, this is not her mom, and second, she keeps messaging her and calling her and texting her and doing so many things, and she's not even answering. She's like, oh, whatever, I forgot about this, whatever. Yeah, it's like a whole thing. It actually remembers, I just got this image, it reminds me of, you know, the aunt from Big Hero 6?
Yeah.
It reminded me because the aunt is also so worried about both Tadashi and Hiro, and she can be a little overbearing, but you know that she has the best intentions. It's just that she got 2 kids from a tragedy, and I think that similar to this aunt, you get so hit by what happened, your life changed so quickly that you become kind of like on the edge. You're on the edge all the time, being like, oh my god, are they okay? Oh my god, is this fine? Oh my god, I need to take care of them. I'm not a parent, and I never tried to be a parent, but I have to be a parent. And it's difficult, it's hard, and I'm actually happy that they explored that with the aunt. Like we did see, like, she's not just a random caretaker of Susume, she's actually a human being.
She's a person. Yeah,
she's a person that also had to struggle with what happened, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I like that. Honestly, I like that.
There's a scene that I just remembered hearing you guys talk, almost at the end, when they are driving in Sota's friend's car, and it crashes. And then, Susume says, okay, how many kilometers are left? 10, right? And then the guy says, no, it's more like 20. And she's like, all right, I'm going to run. And then the aunt sees a bike, grabs the bike, and starts riding the bike, picks Susume up, and starts like literally riding the bike with all her strength, and you see her sweating like so much, and they have this intimate moment where the aunt says, Suzume, back in the gas station. I think they were in a gas station when that
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I
that
think they were at
discussion happened.
like a rest stop or
a
something.
restaurant. Yeah, something like that. Well, back there, what I said, you need to understand that that was not the only feeling that I felt. I
Right.
also felt it when I said, from today on, you are my daughter. Like, you need to understand that, and I'm sorry. And that really shows you how many emotions all of us go through, and especially her in that situation, as you were saying, Marvin.
ね、駐車場で私が言ったこと、胸の中で思っちゃったことはあるよ。でもそれだけやないと。
So as you were mentioning, Mia, like to me the topics of loss and love really were connected together, because you mentioned that the aunt did lose someone, and Suzume also lost a mom, as we said, and those two emotions, grief and love, might be some of the strongest ones there is. And I feel like the movie really revolved around those notions of eternal love, powerful love, and all those sorts of mixed feelings and emotions that bring you to the place where you need to be. And I feel like that's a good sentiment to end the movie on, and I feel like this is the takeaway that we all got from that. I don't know if you guys have any final thoughts on Suzume.
Yeah, I would think that my final thought was literally what you said. It was like, to me, love is one of the strongest forces there is. It can push people to do so many crazy decisions, whatever these decisions may be. And it only makes sense to me that the movie was guided that way, because to me it makes perfect sense to me that this would be something that would drive Suzume so far to where she went to which was the exact place where she had to be all along. And she didn't know, but she had to be there. And the only way to drag her there was gonna be through love, through the resolution that she had. And while we were saying jokingly and everything that the movie didn't always make sense, in all, from the beginning and the end, it all wraps up like very nice. And
The theme did make sense.
The theme makes sense, and the whole notion of acceptance and, like Miguel said, healing and dealing with so many emotions to the point where you can finally like get closure, I guess, to a certain period of your life. I feel like all these messages were very nicely like touched on by the movie, and I really liked it.
Same, I really liked it.
Do you want to go ahead, Marvin, with you? Any other final thought, or can I go?
No, I just genuinely liked the way the movie unfolded. I think it was beautifully touched on. I think it was written by someone who knew those emotions: loss, love, grief, finding comforts in the little moments. I think this is a big thing that the movie touches on. And no, I think I'm gonna let you close this one, Miguel.
Okay. So my last point would be to touch on the full circle, a closure, so to speak, that in a way, we also ended up talking about something that we didn't expect, and I feel that we didn't know the connection, we were confused, but we ended up, understanding something that maybe we didn't before, and I think that is explored in the movie as well. I think I mentioned the scene, or if not, I'll mention it right now, about the cat when they are in the ever after, before Suzume uses Satoru, it's not Satoru, sorry, Sota as the keystone and pierces the worm. Just right before that, the cat says, if you don't pierce the worm, the worm will fall and a lot of people will die and history will repeat itself.
人がいっぱい死ぬね繰り返すね
And I think it's very interesting how throughout many anime stories we see this theme of history repeating itself. And I think the reason it repeats itself it's because you have not gone to the place that you needed to go and be in order to heal. I think that's a big takeaway that I can, keep with me after this movie, that there's a reason why history repeats itself. There's many things that we have to process that we might avoid, just as Suzume. I think she was avoiding many things about her relationship with her aunt, and the aunt ended up being the one that led her to that door, that put all her efforts, although probably she lived a very nomadic life because of working late. Very it's not nomadic, very, what's the word, very, when you don't move a lot.
Sedentary?
Sedentary.
Very sedentary. I said exactly the opposite. You see how my brain works. Very sedentary life. She just had this conviction, I will help my niece go where she wants to go. And the reason she did that was because she told Suzume, stop lying to me, like jokingly she said it, stop lying to me. The place you want to go, it's because you're chasing someone you love. And again, you see that subject of love coming up. So yeah, that's my big takeaway. I will say that I would definitely enjoy talking more about love, relationship dynamics, being the difference between love and being enamored. And for me, that is one last takeaway that I can mention. There's a difference between the start of the movie when Suzume sees Sota the first time walking up the hill, and she's like, oh, that's a nice guy, and you see the slow motion of him with the hair moving.
No more. Baby, don't hurt me.
And all that, and then at the end you see the same scene, but it's completely different. Because it's not only fantasizing about what could be and being enamored, it's actually, this is someone that witnessed my healing and that not for 1 second tried to own me, to possess me. So I think that's a big thing, the aunt allowing Suzume to heal when she realized, I don't actually own you. I don't have to be so controlling. I can give you your space. And I think Sota did the same, and it led to the best outcome. So that would be a topic I'd like to discuss later on.
I think everyone healed and everyone grew. It's very much about growing up, but also growing internally. And Suzume, just like Sota, just like the aunt, just like everyone, had a lot of setbacks because they were held by their baggage. But once they got rid of that baggage, they could grow and they could become more than what they used to be. And this is very much the point that I wanted to end this video on, because I feel like this is the one thing, like you were saying, that I'm going to take away with me after this movie. That aside from all the magical stuff, aside from all the whimsical, it's like the most important feeling is, do not let your past or do not let your emotional baggage hold you back. To grow into an adult and to grow into someone that actually enjoys themselves. And I think that that's the most important thing about this movie.
Well, if Anna doesn't want to say anything, Anna, no.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I feel like what you guys both said pretty much closes the whole conversation. It's a matter of healing, of love, of, like you said, growing, seeing mistakes, seeing things that you're not willing to let go, seeing ways that you're not willing to let go, that maybe you have to let go. And in all the characters, like you said, the Suzume, but the aunt, and even Sota, because Sota, I feel like we saw a Sota in the beginning, and then we saw a Sota at the end.
Yeah.
So I think that everyone managed to somehow like deal with their own baggage. And yeah, and I feel like it was like a very movie where everyone got closure, everyone got the closure that they needed. And I think that even the grandpa in a way, because he says as soon as she enters the hospital, he was like, oh, he failed. And then when she said, they're like, the world's not worth living without Sota, the grandpa, he changed and he
started laughing.
Yeah, he laughed, and then he was like, you need to go look for the door. So honestly,
heartwarming.
I would recommend everyone to watch it. This movie is really nice. There's a bunch, like we talked, there's a bunch of like we mentioned, there's a bunch of things about cyclical and how you need to relive your history in order to like change stuff, sort of thing. And yeah, and overall, honestly, like, pretty great movie, beautiful movie. If you like the aesthetic of Your Name, go watch this because it's the same director. It's gorgeous, and yeah, I feel like those are my final statements.
So if all of us are finished on this video, I think it's time to say goodbye to you guys, and thank you so much once again for sticking out with us. We see more and more of you each time we post, and it's really heartwarming to us to see that people might be interested in our content. We're really, really grateful. We want to keep doing this because we're having so much fun recording together and pushing those conversations. We want to have them more. We want to explore so many more topics inside and outside anime because we would like to diversify our content. So you guys let us know what you would like to watch on this channel. If you enjoy seeing us talk or if you find us insufferable, please let us know. But do not put a thumbs up. Do not put a thumbs down. Put a thumbs up because that really pleases the algorithm. But enough of stupidity. I'm just really grateful, and I hope more and more of you tune in every week because we would like to interact with you, keep pushing those conversations, and just have fun together. Honestly, this is like a safe space, a fun space, and we really, really enjoy having you here.
And if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share if you like. And if you don't like, you can share it to your enemies.
That works too.
It works. But yeah, keep the conversation going in the comments. And thank you all for your support. It's extremely, extremely meaningful to us.
Thank you, everyone. And don't forget to leave a comment, with your own definition of love, healing, everything that we have talked about today. And yeah, if you want to support us, subscribe. It really makes it it's really enjoyable to watch anime and then discuss it. So we appreciate your support and being part of these conversations. Until next time, everyone.
Until next time.
See you next time, everyone. Bye.
Bye.